Good morning, guys. Welcome to another week of weight loss for me. My name is Rock, and I think I'm at week 20. So I started in November. It's going pretty good. So this week I wanted to go outside and do some stuff, but the weather is terrible in Montreal. It's been raining all weekend, so it limited me very, very much. So this week, I'll go back and do a recipe I wanted to do for a long time. It's my spaghetti sauce, and why I was holding back was because the way I was doing it was not super healthy, and I found a meat substitute that should work pretty good for the recipe. So everything else, I think it's gonna be vegetables and stuff like that. So probably counts as a vegetarian sauce. So you'll get that later. And as you can hear in the background, this is Shadow. He's pretty excited to go outside very soon. And so yeah, I'll go right ahead with the weigh-in. Here we go. So it's saying it's 261.3, and I find that a little bit weird because yesterday I weighed myself, see where I was at, and even earlier, and it was saying 263. So I'm not sure my scale is working properly, because as you move it you need to recalibrate it, and that's what I did. And Shadow, shh, dog. So I had to recalibrate it, and so it's kind of weird that it's throwing me that number. It's 2 pounds down from earlier, so that may screw me next week if it stops doing that, so I'm not quite sure. So if it's really 261. Well, it's 5 pounds, and earlier was 263, so that would be 3 pounds, because last week I was at 266.3 or something like that. So anyway, one way or another, it's pretty decent. So we'll see next week how that turns out. I really need to change my scale because I'm not sure of the numbers, and in an ideal world you're not supposed to move it around that much when it's calibrated, but I can't do that because I would film my videos in the back of my of my bedroom with no light, so it would be pretty crappy. So maybe soon I'll change the scale, and we'll see if it makes a difference. So yeah, that's it for the weigh-in, and now we'll go. Later I'll do the spaghetti sauce if you want to look at that. All right, see ya. Welcome back to Rock's Cooking Show. Today's cooking show is brought to you by Mother Nature. When Mother Nature brings you rain, you start a cooking show. You can't go outside very much. You can go outside. You could just get a nice raincoat, but to film would be kind of crappy. So we're doing a recipe. Today I'm gonna do my spaghetti sauce recipe, which I've waited a long time to do because I'm trying to make it healthier. So today we're gonna cut the meat from the recipe, and it's pretty much all vegetables. So let's see what we'll need. There we go. We need a lot of stuff. We need for vegetables 2 large onions, 6 celery stalks, 2 red peppers, 2 green peppers, a bunch of mushrooms, let's call it 300 grams, carrots, I would say maybe 150 grams. It's about the equivalent of 2 large carrots, so probably 4 of these. And that's pretty much it for vegetables, I think. Well, except what's in the cans. Well, let's do the cans. The cans, I use 2 cans. Let's see here. 2 cans of plum tomatoes, whole tomatoes. I used the Italian version, so 2 big cans of that. That's 28 ounces, I think. Yeah. So 2 of those. Well, I gotta say that the batch is like a double batch. So if you want to do a single, split everything that I'm telling you in half. It's pretty easy. So big can of tomato sauce, 680 milliliters. So it's probably around 20 ounces, I would say, if you were going with ounces. Tomato paste, I used 2 cans of 14 ounces, 369 milliliters. And I got a huge can of tomato juice to adjust the sauce, the thickness of the sauce. So that's it for the cans. We got some garlic, of course. Again, we'll use probably like let's say 2 tablespoons of. And fresh herbs, I got some rosemary, which is romarin in French, oregano, origan, curly parsley, persil, and basilic. For those, we'll use about, let's say, it's quite a lot. It's like a good handful of each. And for dry stuff, we're gonna use 2 bay leaves, some crushed chili peppers, because I like mine hot. You don't have to put it in. And I'm gonna add today some onion powder, because I've been using this in everything for a while, so I'm gonna try that. And what else? I have one special ingredient here, which is not for everybody. I think it's called Satan's breath or something like that. It's like a very, very spicy piment, whatever. Pepper, let's call pepper essence. So that stuff is very spicy. You just put like 2 or 3 drops. And for the meat replacement, I wanted to try my friend's one of my friends that told me about a product. It's called PVT. So I think it's protein, vegetable, something. It replaces meat. I couldn't find it, so I went with this one, Eve's Italian Veggie Ground Round. So I got 3 packages of 340 grams. So it's about close to 2 pounds, I would say. I'll try that. It's the first time I try it. It's already pre-cooked, so you just have to add it to your sauce. So should be kind of it's a pretty easy recipe. Just put everything together and shove it in your on your stove for 4 hours. So let's start by chopping the vegetables. All right, so vegetables. For the tools you need, it's pretty simple. You need a can opener for the cans, a peeler for the carrots, and a good knife for the vegetables. And it also works for home protection, especially in this city. But for home protection, you have to use it a different way. You have to turn it around like this. Like this, you can. It works better. So I won't show you all the vegetables. You know, I just wanted to show onions and peppers. A quick trick that I found on YouTube. I think it was Chef Ramsay. Everybody knows him, especially for the peppers. Onions I had seen before, but not the peppers. So I'll show you about the peppers. All right, for peppers, what I found is the easiest way is to cut the bottom. Try to keep as much as possible. Then flip it on its side, and you just go around like this. I don't know if you can see. It makes a pretty decent piece. Sorry. And you can just go around and get your pieces like that. It's really, really easy. Just need a sharp knife, and you're left with only this. You can trim some of this off, and that's it. After that, you can, cut them in like thin slices and dice them like you want. So I won't show you more of that. It's kind of useless, but that's the thing with peppers. Quick trick. And now onions. Onions you split in two. This one is pretty big. Then you can peel most of it off. Hopefully I don't look like an ass on camera and do something silly. Chop one part off. Then you can, especially with the red ones, they're kind of harder to get going a little bit. There we go. So now we're on to the clean skin, let's say. And this, hopefully it shows up good. Yeah. Okay. And this, you just cut it in, you do some lateral slices like this. I hope you can see the pretty good. Okay. You can do 2 or 3 slices. I'll do 2. Like this. Don't go all the way. After that, you turn it. You make some parallel small slices. And the closest you put them together, the smaller pieces are going to be. Pretty easy. I won't go too small because it's going to cook for like 4 to 6 hours, so don't need to go crazy. So you get some slices both ways, and after that, if you got a small, a sharp knife, look at that. It's pretty small pieces, and you can go as small as you want. As long as your knife is sharp, it'll go pretty quick. And I'm really not an expert. So that's it for the vegetables. The rest I won't have to show you. Carrots, it's pretty obvious. Cut them lengthwise, do some slides in it, and it's pretty easy. The fresh herbs, I'll use my little, I'll show you. You can do it with the knife, but I don't really like it. So I use this thing. It's Starfrit. It's a hand pull, or you can use like if you have one electric, whatever. So that's it for the vegetables. Alright guys, the vegetables are all cut. As you can see, it's a lot of vegetables. My my fresh herbs are cut as well. So we have the rosemary. We have this is parsley, basil, and oregano. So that's all cut. It's varying sizes because the boxes are smaller, and some of them I don't want to put too much. So they're like the rosemary and the oregano, I'd say it's like the palm, the bottom of your hand, and the parsley is the biggest part. It's like a pretty good handful because it tastes less, and the basil is pretty strong, so it's probably half of the parsley. What else? So now I just need to finish up the last parts for the sauce, and we can start with the tomatoes. There we go. Just dump that in. Like I said, we have 228 ounces cans, and you just crush that with, I use my mashed potato pillar. So this is what you end up with. You don't need to go full crazy on that. And the rest is pretty easy. You just dump everything that you have pretty much. I have, like I said, my can of tomato sauce. All of it goes in. And after that, I'll do my tomato paste. I have 2. And then you add your vegetables with your garlic, and at the end your fresh herbs, and you're pretty much done. After that, you bring it to a boil, and you let it sim for for me it's 2 to 4 hours. I know some people do 6 to 8, depends. And for me, there's a lot of theories on this, but I like the idea of letting it cook without the lid on, so it cooks by evaporation. Yeah, I like it better that way. And the tomato juice that I have, it's a big can. I use it. I start off with a little bit, and I add more depending on how thick it is with those vegetables that are going in. Alright guys, I was about to forget about the meat replacement, which is super important. So I just brought it out of the package. It's the first time for me, so I wasn't too sure what to expect as to for the texture. So it pretty much, I think you can see, pretty much looks like a big hamburger patty. I could probably, yeah, I'll just use my fingers and, break it up into smaller pieces and put it right in the sauce. So at this point, everything like the tomato stuff is all in it, except my tomato juice, what I'll put at the end. And at this point, I just have my garlic to add, which I add quite a lot. Trying to do something with one hand. So yeah, the vegetables, I'll switch you up, put you up upstairs. All right, so I just have the vegetables to put in, and that's gonna take up a lot of room. So at first it's scary because for me, like for this pot, it brings it up quite near the edge, but it's usually fine. The mushrooms I put them in quarters. You can slice them in slices if you won't prefer. It's up to you. The carrots, by the way, I don't add any sugar to my recipe because the carrots will do that. It's a little trick I learned from my cousin, my dearly departed cousin Francois, which was he was a chef, and he told us to use carrots instead of adding sugar to take out the acidity. Alright guys, this is what it looks like. I've put everything in it. I've used half of my tomato juice. I can show you. That's what it looks like. So right now it looks pretty damn thick, and that's normal because there's a lot of vegetables in there. There's the meat. Whoa, sorry. There's the meat and all that. But what will happen is that as it cooks, the vegetables will go down a lot, and the water from them will be extracted, and it will add liquid to it. So I'll go ahead and use the rest of the tomato juice. And now the only thing to add is the fresh herbs. So the rosemary, I've read to put them at the beginning to make sure that the ingredients take up the taste of the herbs. So that's the oregano, basil, and lastly parsley. Looks like a lot, but it'll be fine. You just add 2 bay leaves. They're pretty small, so I'll do 3. Crushed pepper to taste. It's up to you. And I'll try my onion powder this time just to see if it adds a little kick to it. Salt and pepper. And one last thing. the Satan's breath, I think it's called. And this stuff, you have to be really, really careful with your fingers. Don't put your fingers in your eyes, or for guys, if you go to the bathroom, wash your hands. Right. So this, I put just like a little few drops in it. It's like maybe 3 or 4 big drops, and that's quite enough. If you don't like your food spicy, just don't put it in. Just don't skip the crushed pepper, crushed chili peppers, and skip that. You can even skip the garlic. It's a little bit spicy, the garlic. And you're done. You just bring it to a boil, and I'll use the lid to get it started. And after that, let it sim for, without the lid for me, I prefer it that way. Let it sim for at least 2 hours, but I recommend 4, and you can go to up to 8 hours. You just have to go, let's say each half hour, mix it up so it doesn't stick to the bottom in case. And you put it on a low sim, and you'll be fine. So try it out. It's my favorite. The recipe came from my grandmother, which I tweaked to my taste, and I like it quite a lot. And I'm really anxious to see the taste with the new meat replacement. If you don't like the idea of meat replacement, usually what I do is it's 2 pounds of beef, and if I want to add like a little kick to it, I even add some Italian sausages. If you like spicy, you can use spicy sausages, and if not, just regular ones. But I think the meat replacement will be great. So I hope you like it. So I'll see you next week. Take care.